Good evening, ladies and gents. Welcome to the Manifestation, the Ultimate Manifestation podcast with your host, Sean Grant. So happy to be here as always. So excited. There's a bit of a hurricane threat down here in South Florida, but it's interesting because I have consistently delved into being so in tune with my inner guidance that I always ask, I always get information or insight that would help me to make the best decision, not only for myself, but for my family. And, for a category 4, 3, whatever it is, I feel really amazing and really calm and really peaceful because I've consulted my inner guidance, and it tells me everything is great. Everything will continue to be great. There is nothing to worry about. Your life is perfect. It's working out in the very best way possible. And so I really, I sit with that, and I know it's the truth because all of a sudden my body changes, my demeanor changes. Just the other night, the news came on, and here's the thing with any type of media outlets, for the most part, they are going to blow it out of proportion because they really desire to create a reaction in people. And so getting back to the whole energy thing, I was in my home, and all of a sudden I just felt like this, I guess you want to say, negatively charged energy in my chest. And so I'm just thinking to myself, okay, where is this coming from? And immediately the thought came in that it's the anxiety and the fear of the people who are so afraid that, or scared or nervous that a storm is coming. And it was just absolutely insane that I was actually feeling that the energy was actually that strong. So, anywho, I stopped for a moment, stopped what I was doing. I went down into my meditation, and I got into this deep, 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 peaceful state where I can connect and hear everything clearly. And once again, my inner guidance, told me that there's nothing to worry about. Everything is great. Everything is perfect. Just keep living your life the way that you truly desire to live it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take that choice. I'm going to take the wisdom that I receive because I trust my inner guidance. I'm going to take that choice, and I am going to just step out on it, I guess, as we used to say in church. Just have faith in it. We have so much conviction that it's going to permeate throughout my reality and throughout everybody I meet. And it's interesting because this is a really great lesson for me, because the problem is we can make a strong choice. As actors, it's funny because I have that picture up on the front of the episode. But as actors, we talk about making a strong choice. And when an actor's making a strong choice because it looks like they're just going for it. And it kind of gets back to a topic I was discussing. It's so funny how everything's like connected, but about instead of trying not to mess up, just go full throttle. And as an actor, we always talk about making that choice, making that strong choice. Well, in life, it's about making a strong choice. It's about making a bold choice and saying that no matter what it might look like, no matter what other people might be saying, if my inner guide is telling me, if my inner God in me is telling me that this is fine and everything is okay, I have to decide, who am I going to listen to? Am I going to listen to all the crazy people watching the news? Am I going to listen to all the pessimists? Or am I going to be positively enthusiastic, on cloud nine, operating from a level of everything has to work out? It always does, and it works out perfectly, and it works out for my very best and the best of all concerned, right? That is my choice. That is my conviction. But it's not always easy. You know what? It's not always easy, because here's the thing. When you reach that type of faith and conviction in something that a lot of people can't see, it's going to scare the bejesus out, because most people will think you're absolutely nuts. Most people think you're nuts, and that's part of it. But keep in mind, every genius, and I'm not calling myself a genius, but part of being a genius is learning how to listen to the intelligence within you that will allow you to open yourself up to the truth of what really needs to happen, right? Part of being a genius is basically recognizing that and sticking with it. You look at all these amazing individuals, from Martin Luther King to Elon Musk to Steve Jobs to Rosa Parks. They had a truth. They had a nudge, an inner nudge that would not let them stray away from what their inner guidance was telling us. And you know what is amazing? This is just popped into my consciousness. I feel like God gives us all the chance to do that. God is always saying, you know what? I want to see how far you're going to take it to trust me. I want to see what you're going to do when nobody else believes what you believe but me. And I'm telling you what to do. Are you going to be strong enough to act on it, to stand firm in that choice? Because I can tell you this, if you do, and when you do, it's a whole new ballgame. Life completely transforms into something that becomes so dynamic, because faith is what it's all about. Not even religious faith, but the type of faith that knows, that can call forth a situation. And this is the area in my life where I'm at right now, so I'm really excited to be sharing this with you. When you can call forth situations, when you can call forth things to happen that you can't really see yet, but you're feeling in to the mind substance, as we say in the law of attraction, you're feeling into the power of the creative mind, the God in you, basically. You can influence your reality. And I've seen it. I've seen it in my own life. When I begin to speak powerful words filled with great emotion and conviction and power, they magnify in my life. They magnify to the degree that they pierce through reality. And it's not always matching up to what I truly desire to happen, but it's of the same nature, right? It's of the same nature. So, it would be like wanting to manifest a 2009 red Chevy Corvette, and then all of a sudden you get like a 2020, because the 2020 is better for you. That's how it works when you learn to act on those choices, when you learn to call forth your circumstances, as opposed to just being a victim. What's troubling for me is that people just become victims in their lives. They become victims. And it's so sad, because as human beings, we have so much power. We have so much creative ability to be on point and in charge of what we truly desire out of life. You know, it's baffling. It's upsetting. It just makes me shake my head because there's so much power there. And you know, I have been in that place too, where you just kind of like, you know, you want something better, but you allow the negativity to overtake you. And then you're not strong enough to make your own choices. Because with negativity, when that starts to really kind of dive into your consciousness, and the sad thing is that most of us are programmed negatively as children. When it starts to jump into your consciousness, I'll give you a prime example of what that's like. That's like the python wrapping around you, squeezing and not letting go, right? It's going to take a divine intervention to get that thing to release its grip, or somebody's going to have to shoot it, stab it, cut it, whatever it is. But that's what negativity does, right? Especially when it's lingered for so long, you know. And the problem is that negativity has just become second nature for so many. It's just become second nature, and you observe it, and you're just like, what the heavens, you know? But at the same time, for me, instead of judging it, I desire to transform it, but it has to start with me first. And then once I get it, then I want to share it, which hence this is why we're here, like on this podcast, because it is all about the understanding and the truth that we have the power to not only influence our own lives, but influence the lives of others, you know? So getting back to this hurricane, I stand firm and convicted on everything working out in a perfect way. That's just my resolve. That's just my resolve. And I talk to people who get nervous, who get scared, who say, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Who are like, you know, in the store, buying up all the stuff, preparing for World War IV. Like, tell me something. Because this is a vibrational manifestation, law of attraction type podcast. I understand being prepared, but there's a way to be prepared, but also prepare your energy for the best. You know, it's another thing. We always decide to prepare for the worst. I've never, like, even growing up, I noticed that, like, everything was always preparing for the worst. And you basically set that energy pathway, just like you set an interstate type road for it, and you're basically just building a pathway for it. What if we just decided that we were going to prepare for the best? We were going to expect the best, right? What if we decided that, okay, instead of like riding the negativity train, what's the best that can happen with this situation? And I promise you, if you allow it, your mind will definitely go there and will start giving you reasons why the very best can work out. Case in point, when I first got into doing prosperity and, you know, just basically transforming my money issues, I would find coins on the ground, and, you know, I would get certain checks, but it would be small checks, right? So a little bit of money was coming through. And it's so funny because I thought about this today, because SAG-AFTRA sent me a residual check for a film that I did. And I just had a bit of a chuckle, because at one point when I would get, you know, at first they were really big, and then they just started to become smaller. And it was right at the time I was really transforming my beliefs surrounding my finances. And I would get these checks, and it was just kind of like, And, you know, I just kind of dismissed it. But then I really found myself in a place where, you know what, this is a test. This is a test that's greatly described within the biblical scriptures about, you know, God basically saying, well done, my good and faithful servant. I've trusted you a little now, and you've shown me that you're responsible. Now I can trust you with a lot. So it basically gets me to this place of, even if I get a check for $2 or $1.50, that's abundance, because I didn't foresee that happening. I didn't foresee that coming in today, and that's not included in what I needed to meet my basic needs. So it becomes abundance. But see, what happens is God and the universe desire to have you to really fall into gratitude for that. And by falling into gratitude, you know, the thing with gratitude is, show gratitude for something that opens the way for you to receive more. So I really began to do that. And I really have discovered now that is one of the most important things I could have ever done for my finances, as opposed to just saying, I want the $150,000 checks. You know, I'll take the $150, the $1.50, the $11.50 checks and say, you know what? Thank you for this abundance. This is amazing. I'm so appreciative that this is flowing into my life and helping me to experience more abundance. I'm so grateful. So that in itself is a bold decision, because I guarantee you, most people, when they find nickels and quarters and pennies on the ground, they dismiss it. Don't dismiss that, right? That's the universe showing you, like, look, abundance. Let's see if you can be grateful for it or if you can discount it. And you got to be grateful for it. Celebrate abundance. That's the next podcast I'm going to do. But celebrate your abundance, whatever it is. Whether you got a discount today. Like, I went into the store and got like $7 or $8 discounted. I, helped another guy use my discount card, and he got like $17, $18 discounted. So those type of things, that's abundance. You have to celebrate that. But it comes down to making that decision, that bold decision, when everybody else is doing everything, opposite, that's going to influence your reality as it relates to manifestations. Okay? And you just have to believe. You just have to have that conviction. You just have to have that strength. You just have to have that know-how that everything is perfect. You are perfect. Everything is working out. Even when you can't figure out how, affirm with conviction that it's working out perfectly. And I promise you, the world revolves around thought and feeling. The universe revolves around thought and feeling. Everything in front of you is vibrating at a certain frequency. It's vibrating at a certain frequency, which means you're vibrating at a certain frequency. It means the words, the thoughts are vibrating at a certain frequency. Positive, enthusiastic, optimistic, high vibrational, everything is what you want to have as it relates to everything around you in your life. And that becomes what's so very important, because that type of boldness, when everybody else is just subjecting themselves to negativity and saying, oh, well, that's the way the cookie crumbles, you're on a path to where you are going to build a life you can not only be proud of, but a life that just brings you every single thing you need to coincide with the joy you have within. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. It has been a pleasure. We will talk soon. Take care.